Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke with Reverend Yutaki Yamada, today being Wednesday, the 24th of November, or the 20th of October, the 9th year of Chongal Book. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Chariot, Chombe, Ado. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가정세 6. 천일국 주인 우리 가족은 참을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 존을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 매하나이다.
Family pledge number 6. Our family, the owner of Chongal, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the Heavenly Parent and True Parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Robert if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Okay, genuine prayer. Good morning, and that is loving Heavenly Parents, our beloved parents. Thank you, most Heavenly Father, for this morning once again. Here today, we all blessed families, join together our Hundoke. May you be with us, each and every one of us. Give us inspiration that can enlighten our hearts, and will be our spiritual food for today, Heavenly Father. We pray and put this in our family and all our blessed family here today. Yeah, thank you so much. I put this in our couple and Robert and Lauren Capro. Aju.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's offer a warm welcome to Reverend Yutaka as he shares this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, now, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining today's morning Hundoke. Today is Wednesday, beautiful morning. Let's put our sincere devotion in the heart and let's begin the day together with our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Yesterday, we had CLC online fellowship first time. So yesterday, Zoom is around 120 people attended, and also YouTube, the Facebook, this. Is there some problem?
The audio sounds like it's echo. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Maybe I'll check first. But I'm okay. Your voice is okay.
But your voice, when I hear your voice, there's an echo.
Oh, really?
And everyone else is saying there's an echo. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to be any different than last time.
Who can hear echo? Can you raise your hand? Who can hear the everyone? Oh, maybe can you check?
Yutaka,
Yes.
it happened also at our meeting yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it happened at our meeting yesterday. Yeah. So I suspect it's coming from your computer somewhere. I'm not really sure, but yeah.
My computer? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I will. Can you check? Can you speak? Someone, can you speak?
Hello. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, Greg's is all right.
Yeah, that's why I think it's coming from yours, because it was in our meeting yesterday as well.
Okay, just try John at Ebenezer now.
Yes, hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have an echo?
Turn you down, John.
Sorry?
Then they said Johnny turned down and then other people could hear where it's coming from. I wasn't sure.
No, John seems to be all right.
Okay, great. That's a little bit echoey.
Only my computer. Hello. Is that echo?
But the John was a little bit there before. There was sort of like this whispery echo.
Anyway,
But you had like a really strong echo. It was just, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. It's like a,
Is there echo? My voice has echo.
yes.
Oh, right. I don't
I
know.
suspect it's a Zoom problem.
My
Hmm.
problem.
Damn.
I think it's
I don't know. How
Zoom
should I
transmission
change?
problem.
Don't take it personally.
No, we love you.
We also can't see our own problems.
Okay. Yeah, I have to check. I don't know what I have to change.
It just, ooh,
Well, John's echoing now as well.
wow. I don't understand what's going on.
Maybe I will leave and enter again.
Can try, yeah. How is everyone now? How's the echo's gone now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
why?
Utaka's left the room. Now it's all perfect. Oh, well, it's good we've got rid of the problem anyway. Just joking.
Still echo.
Classic
I
clean
noticed
answer.
that last night. I didn't.
People
There's echo, right? Echo, right?
yeah,
Yes.
still there.
In your pockets.
Utaka, there was no echo when you left.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good machine.
So maybe my mic, right?
Yeah, the Zoom mic and and your system mic. Wow, but it seems to be affecting me as well.
It's obviously catching.
Out you go, John.
It's a virus, mate.
Is there another device on your end? With the
I'm
Zoom?
doing everyday thing.
Like another laptop or another cell phone or something.
Yeah. Do you have another device that is on?
And Utaka, it's not isolated to you. It's happening with John and other people as well. I think it's a Zoom problem. I don't think we can solve this.
Mm.
And you too, Chris, wasn't it? Hey?
Yeah, even Chris was a bit weird
Yeah,
there.
Chris was weird too.
Just an extra.
In the nicest possible way.
Easily.
Anyway, we can still understand what you say, Robbie.
That's
No
true.
problem.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. Just
Good
go
point.
ahead.
Good point, Kenji.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, please go ahead. It's okay. We need to hear it again and again. So an echo's okay.
Today we're reading about Palau and they use conch shells. So there's an echo inside of a conch shell.
Okay. I go. Anyway, please try to understand. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So today, PCLC online fellowship, first day. Also, Zoom, and YouTube, Facebook. I think around 400 people attend. And Christian clergy. And we had also the Kito, Dr. Lao's message. It was also inspiring or a strong message. And all Christian prayer for each denomination and others. So yesterday message also talking about second Bible and also the Genesis and the principle of creation. So really some of the testimony good and reflection. Really see some pastor asking us to send the eternal contents to share to their congregation. So one by one, centering on a Bible side, but also together with principle, we have to share. So I think some of you also attended yesterday. We need your feedback. For example, for good point, difficult point, something to be changed, then we can develop more and more. So please share your feedback. We can develop content more. So this is the yesterday photo. So one attended together. Okay, so also going to the mother office to talk about the Palau Summit. Finish Africa tense, and now going to talk about Oceania, Palau. So during preparation Palau Summit, all from Asian Pacific entered to Palau. So just 2 years ago, 2019 October, November, and December, they entered to Palau and prepare that. So to see. Following day, December 10, attendees of the Asia Pacific First Lady Summit 2019 at the Nanachamian Cultural Center. I forgot to read. The opening ceremony began with an address by the First Lady. Then my emissary and daughter-in-law, Women's Federation for World Peace International, Moon Hun-suk, read the founder's message on my behalf. Through her, I made my love not only for Palau, but for all of Oceania. The point of the Pacific civilization. The President Moon Hun-suk knew the beautiful message, and the current First Lady attended this First Lady Summit. So really beautiful sphere, and really the great moment in the Pacific Summit, the First Lady Summit. In the furthermore claimed the advent of the Pacific Rim era and emphasized the providential importance of the Pacific region in 1992. He wrote in his calligraphic Chinese characters, "The unified world will begin in Oceania," and offered prayers and other spiritual conditions for the restoration of Oceania God. So this message is really we heard well. You could understand the voice? Is that?
It's echoing quite fairly strongly. We can sort it out as we read it, you know. Yeah.
Maybe today just testimony about Palau also good. Then
Yeah,
because
it's good.
so many echo disturbing, I think.
I'm just wondering if you have to delete Zoom and reinstall it on your computer, because there was a major update not so long ago and I had to do an update.
Really?
You have headphones plugged in? Because then there are two microphones.
So anyway.
Use headphones.
Cell phone on.
Phone?
Use headphones if you have them.
Just a moment. Headphone. I have to find. How was this? Same?
That seems to be a bit better.
Better?
Yes.
It's still there.
Oh, I think it's better.
Random.
Better. Okay, so try. But really, those technical problems is really disturbing.
Yeah.
So today, the more reading. Okay, so I'll continue again. The past, Father Moon proclaimed the advent. This also we read this calligraphy. Okay. So the unified nation begins from Oceania. This message is really the message. So when people in even the Sunim, Yonanim, and Orly also recognize again this first message to Oceania. This message itself, which was done by through father, through parents. How much this is important message in order to unify the world. This Oceania's role and Oceania's position and also responsibility is important. The 40-day cosmic canon for the settlement of Cook created foundation.
You have a huge white bar now. Huge, like half the screen.
I think better maybe to just John. Maybe let's do the testimony time for Palau.
Testimony, okay.
I think really better, not something problem.
I think
Yeah.
the earphones, Steve, have made it worse. Putting your earphones seem to make it even worse.
Yeah. Otherwise, many story I think can share. Okay, anyway, thank you for your con and patient. I will find a way. Thank you.
Unplug from the laptop.
The audio,
earphones.
the headphones are not so great. So thank you. So thank you, everyone. I think we have a bit of an echo. I'm not sure how I sound to people.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Too bad. Yeah, so testimonies of Palau. I remember that because the image on that last slide was that cultural center. I remember going there and having a tour around the cultural center and listening to the first ladies and that speech, and then we all went and had lunch somewhere together with the first ladies, and there was an opportunity for many people to actually have a little bit more personal time with each of the different first ladies, and there's mostly our sisters were there, and they were having a good experience with talking to the different first ladies, and there was a couple of the first ladies that impressed me. The young one from Northern Marianas Islands, which is probably not one of the nations. It's more one
Territory.
of the territories. That's right. But she was very impressive, and also from PNG. She spoke really well. So I was impressed by the first ladies, how they seem to be more, I don't know if it's indicative of the islands or of just women in general, but they just seem to be more embracing and more supportive of each other. But when you see the prime ministers together, they seem to be more proud and and more sort of expressing their point of view as, because they're representing the country. But the First Ladies, I did get a lot stronger impression that they were mothers, and reflecting how our true mother, really, has the difference between the masculine and feminine, and the Holy Spirit, and the presence of God. And so I just seemed at that time just more comfortable, relaxed, and less formal, and I was just impressed by that. That was the sort of atmosphere. So I was, just that photo reminded me. So yeah, let's open it up for others to share their experiences about Palau. Thank you. Yes, Margaret, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. When I heard that the daughter-in-laws are coming, I was very happy, actually, that they could take on the responsibility, and true mother can rest. I thought it was quite significant that Hyojenim's family and Hungjenim's family came, and I felt the island nations are also very connected to the spirit world. The First Lady comes not from a Christian foundation, but from Modakne, the traditional religion of Palau. And it's very strong about spirit world, that Modakne is about a person in their community that receives revelations from spirit world. So I felt that it was so nice to be connected to Hyojenim and Hunjenim in the spirit world. So that, to me, has a great potential in connecting, especially the women in the island nations, to the daughter-in-laws. I think the concept that their husbands are in the spirit world, and yet they are able to work in such a way, means that the reality of spirit world is very real with the daughter-in-laws. So that's something I think is powerful to use in the outreach. There will be an openness to the concept of heaven and earth relationship, as we know that now there can be a blessing with a person in the spirit world and in a physical world. So it's something that I pray about, and how to make way to open that dialogue with people. And hopefully in the future we can invite again. And it's not unusual. Hyojenim is an artist with music, and Hunsuknim is a dancer. And these elements in the Pacific Islands also are very strong. The entertainment, at one time I heard Father saying, I believe, I don't know if it was in the Marshall Islands, Father said that the island people, they are good in dancing because it's so hot. And so instead of developing intellectually, they develop artistically. So since the culture of heart is the center of the culture we're trying to create, then music and art is a very important part. And I am praying that there will be an opening for this culture of heart, especially centered on the president of WFWP, Hun Suk Nim. And just on a small personal note, when Tim and I were blessed in 1982, Tim used to drive to Mama Canary, who took care of True Father's apartment at the New Yorker. And Tim's mother does stained glass, and she made a gift for me, which was a big mirror with panda on it. So when she gave me this gift, I thought quickly of Hun Suk Nim. So we brought this mirror to the 30th floor at the New Yorker for Mama Sang to give to Hun Suk Nim. So I mentioned to Hun Suk when I met her in Palau, if she remembered a mirror, and he said, that's many, many years ago, but I seem to remember a panda with bamboo on it. So I felt, you know, as Jeff was saying, God is preparing many things, even beyond what we understand. And I feel like there's a great hope with Hun Suk Nim and Yona Nim in the island nations in the future.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, morning, everyone. Look, I hope I don't, I'm going to try and explain this. I often get misunderstood. I hope I don't make any offense, because my experience is very, very small in the islands. But my inspiration was that the origin, the spiritual origin of the island nations in general is very immature. Just because a lot of other developed nations have a long history of developed central religions. And so I just connecting with this very significant thing of mother sending the wives of the two true children that are in the spiritual world, I felt to mature the origins of your lineal ancestors. So that was my inspiration when I was in the Solomons, and why they're so very childlike and pure in a lot of ways, but to be honest, unstable. You know, it's not an invasion, but more of an immaturity in the origin of their lineage. That was, I hope that doesn't upset anyone, but I think if they can learn and their ancestors can develop from the spiritual world, it'll really stabilize the island nations. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And Daniel, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. With the in Palau, when we had the global youth camp, that was I think the highlight for me, because it showed so much potential that we could, the level of potential of how we could develop in well, Palau, but also it was a really good model for all island nations, and including Australia and New Zealand. But I think especially for places like Palau, where the young people maybe until they grow up and start traveling, they didn't get a lot of interaction with outside people, and so to have Koreans and Japanese and you know, people from so many different nations all coming and getting together at a camp. The people, I think we had 14 Palauans from the schools come and join us, and they absolutely loved it. They said it changed their lives. And of course, we had this incredible content from Dr. Kittle. He was the lecturer at the camp, so they also got really good spiritual food. And they, after that, like, it was, they were so ready and so prepared to do things. It's such a bummer that COVID happened and we weren't able to really follow up strongly. I feel the foundation's still there if we were to go back. If we were to go back and have another global youth camp in Palau, that the young people who attended there would probably come back as staff and help us out and really encourage their friends, because they had such a positive experience. Because I feel like a lot of people didn't come because they didn't know what it was. They didn't know who we were, and they didn't, you know, it was a lot of uncertainty. But I think that if we were to do it again, especially if we would do it, if we did it close, like only a couple of months later or 6 months later or something, we would have gathered so many people, so many young people, and we still possibly can. But anyway, that was something that always stuck in my mind from what we did with the youth in Palau, was that model of having a global youth camp was so good. And if we went to, you know, different island nations and were able to bring people from like if we could bring the Palauans who joined that global youth camp to then come to a Vanuatu youth, you know, global youth camp or something, or Solomon Islands or anywhere, and yeah, it would just be a huge thing, I think. So anyway, that was my most inspiring part of the Palau experience. Although there was a whole lot going on and a whole lot of inspiring things happening, but I really felt like that was a massive piece of foundation for our future in Oceania. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. Go ahead, Jeff. You got your hand up.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, a couple of points. Of course, Palauan young people are relatively well educated, really, in many ways. A lot of them get to go to America very easily, and they have had missionaries from the Seventh-day Adventists and others in schools there. So they have a lot of potential for leadership. Yeah, so they're really bright young kids in many ways. The other thing was that just something that I remember, when part of that event was that for women, some of them got invited to go out with Debbie Remingesa, the First Lady, out in the Rock Islands. And if I remember rightly, she was going to cook for them. And this is really like important, because, you know, normally, what can I say, women, the Queen would not do such a thing. You know, they expect servants historically and everyone to do all the cooking for them, you know, sitting there being looked after. But here's a woman leader who's actually serving them. And as an image for others, First Ladies who went there, to see this kind of tradition of the First Lady feeding and cooking for others. And this also comes not just from Debbie herself, but from the Palauan tradition, that women prepare all the food. And I know that I might have mentioned it before, the reason, in my understanding, that Tommy got elected to be the president was because of Debbie. How she went from village to village and place to place, you know, promoting him house to house. She was famous for this. And that's how come Tommy actually got elected. And for anyone to become a president in Palau, that if you have a lot of sisters or aunties, they provide all the meals and all the food when they have events, you know, to promote yourself. So this is very like, this is a culture of Palau. It's a very strong women influence. And as I've mentioned already, for having this image of the First Lady, you know, it's probably not only in Palau. I think maybe some other First Ladies in other places have done this as well. But anyway, I was just thinking about that image of, you know, women's real role to really, this kind of a role, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Matapa, you got your hand up. Go ahead. Need to unmute.
Hello, brothers and sisters.
Hello.
Good morning. Well, morning here in England. Anyway, by the way, Jeff with Debbie were the First Lady, so yeah, they would have had fun. Yesterday, what's his name? Reverend Stone mentioned that his reflection on the event was very feminine, like, and it really was. I felt that too, and I went on behalf of the Women's Federation for World Peace, since nobody's spoken about that, so we had our convention there, and it was very successful. It gave us the opportunity to kind of, you know, fellowship, meet the leaders from the other chapters, and then we could talk about and plan for the coming years. And like I said, it was a very successful event, our convention, at least our conference. But yeah, just overall for me was I went along, not just that, but I also took along a guest from New Zealand, a woman, a leader from an organization here. And she was in awe, just like I was, in awe of the place, the beauty of the place, as mentioned earlier, and the people, and so on and so forth. Everything that you've experienced, I also saw that and felt that. And so for that reason, it was, I'm so glad and to have gone. There was one point when I got to meet Debbie after one of the, one thing about Debbie is she really is nice. Somebody mentioned about her going around the tables at that first banquet and meeting, you know, making you know, sure she went around and met everybody, and she did that. But also I had a moment with her at the after one of the functions at the center. As I said to her, Debbie, you know, our Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand, her husband, we invited him to come along as a first husband. And he did respond. But he responded by saying that he couldn't make it this time, but he would love to, because he couldn't make it because he was filming a fishing program, and that's what he does. You know, I don't know if you've seen the program that he hosts and films as well, and so he couldn't come that time. And she said, okay, maybe next time. I said, yeah, sure. That's what he said. He said maybe next time he would go. Yeah, so I just thought I would share that. You know, I really was so glad that I went. I want to add two more things, and that was Daniel mentioned about the youth. Those youth, and also the Filipino brothers and sisters, they were like a hive, you know, a bee's hive, here and there, making sure everything behind the scenes was like immaculate and on point, and that was like awe-inspiring too. So, and I didn't realize that brothers and sisters were, I mean, I can imagine because of the I guess, lack of accommodation, maybe, but I can imagine them like sleeping together and, you know, in sleeping quarters, like with the whole group. And here we were, you know, in our rooms, and now in those flash hotels. And so, you know, I really take my hat off to them, and really a good example to follow it. Yeah, I reckon. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mashaba. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rai, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. And so I think because of trouble with computer, it's a very good chance to can share today, this morning. I went to Palau twice, just twice, and yeah, that's why I actually thank to Greg and Jeffrey. Not only I visited twice, they stay many years, and really try thank you. And just a point of view from ocean activity. So 2 boats went to Palau, then 2 missionaries went there, but 2 missionaries, I think, not exactly stayed 6 months, 7 months, they go back to Japan. Then after 2 boats left over, then what we can do? Then I visited, and then we find that one of the tourist company. There are many tourist companies. The one of the I think Margaret know successful Japanese it's owner. Really, it's doing well. His father in Japan is victor of a communist. One of the supporter or the politician. He's very clever and he's very good at running a good business, because Palau is depend on tourism. Then how can invite a lot of customer from Japan or Taiwan, from Korea? That is the key. Then also it's Palau is Japanese army, the one of the headquarters in Pacific area. So quite a high level of the Japanese army. It's a leader went there, then stayed 30 years. Then quite polite and quite high level. That's why I think same as Marshall, people can speak Japanese. So Tsunego-san said, visit house to house, so elder can speak Japanese, and very polite Japanese, and encourageable. And also when Japanese army stay there, it's really with, I think, influence Japanese culture, and like produce dried skipjack. After catching skipjack and dried, and cut into pieces, and some kind of for taste. That kind of industry it's contributed. But anyway, for that boat, we contacted that tourist company. Then we had a lease agreement. Then tourist company overhaul and the inside of the boat made a new fitting, and also they made a inboard engine, valve engine. Very often, trouble, then took out, then put the outboard engine. Then I went there. So good board become fantastic. I think one of the best is a looking board. So that company they had I think 2 big boards for touring, but using that good board, I think special fishing tour. Then we had a lease agreement, and every month they give us money. That went, I think, went for church missions, and one of the board really using and contribute for church activity. And I haven't maybe 4 or 5 years talked with that manager, but he's really a fantastic person. I think Margaret Tim come back from Palau. I think I wish, and I tried to also maybe establish more relations, but I think he's incredible, mature person in Palau. I think that company also invite one of the big shareholder is I think Palau people. That's why the company is secure. Just if some only Japanese owing and all profit, take is not good. But that really that's an impressive company exists, and really we had a good experience with that company. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rai. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Susie.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share about Palau. The moment that I heard that Palau was going to be happening, I was so excited because I'd heard from so many people about the pristine beauty of Palau, and the idea of having ladies coming, first ladies, was just amazing, because I really do believe this is the era for women to be able to get together and heal the world. And to have the first ladies coming from the Pacific Island nations that I've had my heart and eye on for a long time was just a beautiful thing. And as soon as I heard that there was going to be that, I started praying and thinking, who of the first ladies could I invite from the Pacific Island nations? And I was praying, and I met somebody, a leader of island nations here in Queensland. And she introduced me actually to the First Lady of Nauru. And I was able to contact her and invite her. And she had the most humble attitude. And I'd like to connect that with the reflections that were given, particularly by our younger generation that were asked to take care of the First Ladies. And they had the most wonderful heart with regard to caring for them. They were so objective. They felt really inadequate in a way, because this was their first time. Usually it is the first generation that takes care of them, but this was an opportunity for the second gen to grow and to understand what it means to serve and take care. And I heard the reflections of them afterwards, and they wrote them down. I've actually got them somewhere still. And I think that this is really good to hear from them, what they think, how these events could be improved. They felt it would have been wonderful to have a first gen maybe kind of in behind them, because they didn't really know how to answer the questions of the First Ladies or the concerns that they had. So an opportunity to work together, first and second gen, to work together in the future to do that. It is a good opportunity for younger generation to understand how we serve and we love and we care for these people, not just have them come to an event and just listen to them, but it's an opportunity for all of us when we see our guests, our precious guests coming to these events, to sit down with them. Because many times I saw the guests were kind of just mingling by themselves. I don't know if that was because we didn't have enough staff, but I remember even just rooming with also some PNG ladies and bringing them breakfast or doing other things. That was such a highlight. And of course, going on that boat trip, to have the opportunity to go snorkeling and see the wonder, that really is an opportunity to feel God's presence. nature, to immerse oneself in nature, is really to feel God. And the beauty there is really something I'd love to see again. And anyway, for the moment, that's all I'd like to share, because I think that's probably, we're getting up into that area, and John is shaking his head saying that that's true. So anyway, I'd like to share more, because there were more things, and meeting precious brothers and sisters, being on a boat like that, when we went out to the Rock Islands, etc., the opportunity to share and be with each other was good. And I think if we can do more events like that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. And Randall's had his hand up 3 times, and go ahead.
Hi. Greg Stone will remember when we went to Israel that the first president of Tuvalu was there. And at one stage in a bus coming back from one of our trips, then he was sitting directly in front of me. And the brother that I was sitting next to was saying, oh yeah, well, in the islands, things are much easier than they are out here. And I said, it's all relative. In the islands, there's still 9 tribes, and those within that one nation, there's been a real history of, conflict. And for them, it's really been difficult. And I mean, it isn't so many generations ago where, there was really strong, bad conditions set up with the way that they were acting with the different people. I mean, at the moment, they've got really good, strong Christian basis that will help with their unity. And if they can overcome the tribal conflicts that have been there in the past, they're so close to showing how an example of beautifully harmonious country can be. And we were there in Israel, and because we were talking about the way that how would it be for Israel and the Muslims to get together to stop the fighting that's been going on for 4,000 years. And I said, what they're looking for is an example that this type of conflict can be terminated. And if we can help, even just 3 nations within the islands to overcome this, then that can be a catalyst. That can be a starting point to say, yeah, peace is possible, and it can spread. It can spread to the Christians and the Protestants and the Catholics. It can spread to the Muslims and the Israelis. But if it can happen within just some of these island nations, that'd be fantastic. The next morning, I was going over to one of the tables of pastors from, there was from New Zealand, from the Cooks, from different parts. And the first president of Tuvalu came over, and he gave me a necklace of shells. And I'd never received jewelry from a man before. And I thought, okay, thank you. And these pastors were just so wrapped in that. He was saying, this is one of the big type of showing of respect. I don't know why, but Randall, this is a great honor for you, and all the rest. So I think this was something that really touched his heart, the conversation that I was having behind him the day before. So we've got great potential in the islands, and because one island has still got the same voice as Australia, for example, in the United Nations. It's got the one vote. And so, it's got the same, strength as, different 200 nations around the world. And if there's 3 of these nations that can really be united, yeah, sure, there's historical problems, but if there's a way that we can help inspire to overcome this, maybe, just maybe, it will be the catalyst. It will be the starting point for the kingdom of heaven to come on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Thank you, everyone. It is that time for us to share our unison prayer together, and we can pray for Oceania to become a unified nation. So I'll just share the screen and let's pray together. Arju, Arju, Arju. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Na.
You're welcome.